I don't want to be harsh, but I'm going to be honest. I always am. A lot of people that do damage to their body, like say break their femur, go through and do the physical therapy needed, the grueling, painful, hard work to make their body recover. Some people don't. Some people just hope there's a prescription that'll make it all better, maybe at least take away the pain, because they're not willing to make the investment in time and energy and grueling physical activity to make themselves better. It's the same with mental health. A lot of people just won't admit there's something wrong. They don't want to admit that there's a weakness. They don't want the tears. They don't want the anger. They don't want the frustration. And so they just bury whatever is eating them up mentally and move on, hoping they survive until, I don't know, both physically and mentally, they have a decent quality of life until they die. A lot of communities do that too. I mean, communities that go through some painful traumatic event, like losing a major industry or a lot of jobs or, something like that, are forced, if they want to get better, to go through some rigorous, painful, hard work in order to adapt and to be successful. But there are a lot of communities that just shrug and say, I don't want to do it, and they give up. There are some that are in denial. And so they refuse to admit there's anything wrong, and they just have that slow creeping death where things get worse every day, but not enough to really get anyone excited until they suddenly realize one day it's too late. But good communities that are going forward and finding success understand that they need to work those economic muscles. They need to come together as a team. They need to endure some pain. There will be some tears. There will be some anger and frustration, but they will work through it and they will find that pathway to success. Those are just about as rare as the number of people that are willing to admit they need to go see a therapist for mental health or are willing to commit to the full length of physiotherapy required to recuperate from some physical ailment. And yet, we need our communities to be successful. And yet still some communities, instead of ignoring it or being in denial and just hoping they can survive until they die, which is ironic for a community because it never dies, hopefully, they go around looking for snake oil salesmen to say, here's the magic pill, the prescription that will make it all go away, like a snake oil salesman. And yet if anyone comes forward to your community and says, hey, I've got something that's the magic cure, a report, a strategy on paper that's a big, thick one that you pay for by the pound, it's going to fail. Because if you don't own it, if you don't want it, and you're not commit to working at it and owning it over the long term, months and years, it's going to fail. It is, because it's not yours. And you're not really committed to working through it and putting in the painful energy and time commitment and grueling work that's going to take to be successful. So look, that's probably more news than anybody ever wants to hear. But if your community is in denial, please realize the success of our provinces, of our states, and of our countries depends on you being willing to put in the work. And even if everyone else in your community isn't, and so you figure what's the point, it all starts with one person. And if you're not willing to be the first, don't expect anyone else to step up. But I bet if you're willing to be the first, more and more people will join you, especially when they see the world improves around them. So anyway, if you ever want to talk this through, talk about what your community needs, you know we're here for you. Take care.